The first time I really got Death Stranding wasn't when I defeated some monstrous boss or when I made an especially difficult delivery with my cargo barely intact. It was when I came upon this nondescript little outpost outside a major city and saw this, a wind-powered generator that could play music. But to really understand why this was such a big moment for me, we need to understand how Death Stranding works as a video game and why it came at such a perfect time for me as I watch my country reeling from a second devastating wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Death Stranding is a game about reconnecting a fractured and fragmented United States after an apocalyptic event destroyed most of human civilization. The remaining population is left to gather in small, concentrated locations or be spread out in tiny shelters and outposts around the country. You play as Sam Bridges, a porter who delivers packages from one location to another, braving the danger of supernatural creatures and nomadic bandits. Instead of focusing on combat, you spend most of your time exploring the untamed open world and maneuvering around tricky terrain with stacks of cargo on your back. It's also why a lot of people call it an Amazon delivery simulator. You can build structures like ladders, climbing ropes, bridges, and yes, generators to help you get across difficult terrain. Death Stranding would still have been great if that was all there was to it. But the real game changer is that you're doing all this with other people. And I don't mean traditional online multiplayer. Death Stranding uses what's called asynchronous multiplayer. Basically, if you connect to the internet while playing, you have the option to access structures built by other people or use vehicles they left behind. It's sort of like how Dark Souls lets you leave messages on the floor or walls to help other people who play after you. Or, troll them so they die. This asynchronous multiplayer completely changed my experience with the game. Because when you build a structure in the world, you're not just building it so it's easier for you the next time you take that same route. The things you build are going to appear in someone else's world once they unlock that part of the map. Your bridge is going to help dozens of players cross a wide river when they're low on stamina. Your ladder is going to help a guy who has run out of supplies to avoid a long detour. Who knows, maybe that guy had used up all his equipment laying down an easier path for the people that will come after him. Right after traversing a particularly difficult path, coming across a sign that cheers you on, telling you not to give up, it reminds you that someone else was here before you. Someone who made this journey and wanted to reassure you that you too could make it. You're almost there. And in that moment, you really feel the presence of all these other people who are making the same perilous journey. You're never really alone, even when you're by yourself. It's an endless cycle. The ones that dealt with hardship laid down a path for the next generation so they'd have it easier, and so on. Little by little, until the entire landscape is peppered with these remnants of the passage of others. The memories of their journeys left behind in a breadcrumb trail of bridges and ladders and signboards. And generators. Whoever built that generator by the little shelter knew someone, many someones, would be grateful for a place to charge their equipment. And very likely, somebody else who had the resources to spare thought that while I waited for my gear to charge, wouldn't it be nice to listen to a song? So they upgraded it to play music. They may never have even come back to that spot again, but the rest of us did. And we were so grateful for that brief reprieve. I say all this because right now, I'm sitting at home during a second nationwide lockdown across India as the new wave of the COVID-19 pandemic has and continues to wreak havoc on our population. A terribly mismanaged vaccination drive by the Indian government has left the vast majority of the population vulnerable to what looks to be a much more virulent strain of the coronavirus than we've ever seen before. As millions of people contracted the virus and tens of thousands succumbed to it, morgues and crematoriums have been choked with bodies with no one to burn them. Metropolises and villages alike have taken desperate measures to enforce new lockdowns, leaving the streets deserted. Our country of 1.3 billion people has never felt so lonely. Through all this, the only ones you see on the road are delivery people. Courier services, Amazon, food delivery. They're the ones we see traveling miles every day, bringing us our precious cargo that we can't get ourselves. Despite everything, reports of Amazon warehouse workers suffering chronic injuries from overwork or delivery drivers being forced to urinate in bottles because they can't afford to spare time for bathroom breaks. They're the ones risking infection by coming into proximity with hundreds of us every day, but they do it nonetheless. In this pandemic that's forced us to sequester ourselves in our homes, farther apart than we've ever been, they are the glue holding us together, the nervous system connecting us to the rest of civilization. Playing as Sam Bridges in Death Stranding was a wholly unique experience because for once, you're playing the role of the messenger, the delivery guy. It's a perspective you rarely get to see because when you're waiting for a message or a delivery, what does it matter who brings it to you, as long as it arrives in one piece? They are as important as any other part of the supply chain, and yet they're the ones most invisible to us. I'm not gonna pretend I somehow relate to the experience of these people by playing a video game, but the message of the game is unquestionably relevant to what's going on in the world today. Even as roving bandits and terrorists constantly prey on couriers like Sam Bridges, politicians in India ignore basic civil and political responsibilities in favor of brand building and amassing ill-gotten wealth. Even as the people of Death Stranding's world struggle to survive and reconnect with what's left of their fractured, far-flung population, thousands of people gather on social media to find hospital beds and essential medical services amidst massive nationwide shortages. The core message of Death Stranding is one of gradual but collective progress. Roads are rarely built by one person, but rather multiple people pool their resources, contributing material one by one until there's enough. No single player can build the entire patchwork of ladders, bridges, safe houses and shelters that turn a barren, dead landscape into one teeming with the presence of real people. As India continues to battle this silent, invisible force of nature, people from all over the country have banded together to build oxygen concentrators, acquire life-saving medication, and start public vaccination camps in a country with nearly 1/5 of the world's population. Both in the game and in the real world, people are using their own time and resources to help someone else make it through these daily ordeals. Death Stranding would be an entirely different experience without the asynchronous multiplayer. If you played offline, all you would see are the paths and structures you created yourself, a minuscule fraction compared to what you could achieve with other players. There would be nowhere near enough time or resources to build everything yourself, and that in itself is a subliminal reminder that you need other people. We all need each other. Death Stranding wants you to hear its message loud and clear. We are in this together. The world is far from perfect. There will always be people who will find opportunities to profit off of someone else's misfortune. There will always be people who have the power, the money, and the resources to make the world a better place, but won't because it's easier to do the opposite. But then again, this is the world we've been given, and there's no point despairing over everything that's wrong with it when we could be doing something about it, when we could be laying the path for the generations ahead of us. Which is why I urge you to please consider donating to one of the many, many fundraisers who are dependent on your support to bring India out of this horrendous pandemic. I've included links to a few good fundraisers you can contribute to, so I urge you to donate however much you can. A few days ago, as the cabin fever got to me, I took a drive around town late at night, through the utterly deserted roads with shuttered storefronts eerily similar to the cold, desolate cities of Death Stranding. And I put on this song from the game. The first time you hear it is right after you make it through a frightening gauntlet of supernatural beings in a dark, rainy canyon, barely escaping with your cargo intact. As you emerge atop a mountain pass overlooking a wide open green valley, you're almost at your destination, but now the worst is over. It's also the same song I heard at that one generator. To me, it's the song that tells me I'm safe, that it's going to get better. India is gradually, ever so slowly recovering from this horrific second wave, but it's going to take a long time before things begin to improve. Hospitals will have the oxygen they need. More people will get vaccinated. The streets will be full once again. And it will all be thanks to our medical workers, social workers, doctors, activists, and yes, the men and women who deliver our packages. Thanks so much for watching Next Level Narrative. I'd like to give a shout out to my top patron Cowbell for their support. Again, please consider donating to one of the fundraisers I mentioned. Links are in the description. This is your host, Anish Bhargav, signing out.